Nature of drugs. Drugs may be defined as any substance that brings about change in the biological functions. Sometimes these drug molecules interact with specific molecules inside the biological function systems that plays a regulatory role. And the things that play regulatory role are known as receptors. And through these receptors, action is mediated. Sometimes drugs are known as chemical antagonists. These chemical antagonists may interact directly with other drugs. Sometimes drugs interact exclusively with water molecules. These are called osmotic agents. Sometimes drugs are synthesized inside the body. For example, all the hormones are synthesized inside our body. Sometimes these chemicals are not synthesized in our body. For example, we call them as xenobiotics. Xeno means stranger. Anything that is entered the body from outside. These are also known as drugs. All the poisons are also drugs. Toxins are usually defined as poisons of biological origins, that they are basically synthesized from animals and or plants. And also there are some inorganic poisons. Inorganic poisons means that lead, arsenic, or these heavy metals. So how a drug molecule interact chemically with its receptor? There are some properties the drug molecule must have. Number one, it must have some appropriate size. It it must have some electrical charge. It must have a specific shape, and there is a atomic composition. Useful drugs must have necessary properties to be transported from its site of administration to the site of action. If a drug is not being transported from its site of administration to its site of action, then it is of no use. And another practical approach, practical approach, a practical drug should be inactivated or excreted from the body at a reasonable rate, so that its action will be of an appropriate duration. Duration of action is also very important. So these are some basic parameters that a drug molecule must have to produce an action in the body, and then to eliminate from the body. The physical nature of the drugs. Drugs exist in different forms. Some drugs are solid at room temperature, simple aspirin or atropine. Some drugs are liquid at room temperature, for example, nicotine and ethanol. Or some drugs are also in gaseous stage, gaseous state, for example, nitrous oxide. These factors, what does these factors tell us? The physical nature of the drug. It helps us in checking the best route of administration. For example, some liquid drugs are easily vaporized and can be used in inhalant form. For example, halothane or amyl nitrite, etc. There are various classes of organic compounds. Drugs may be carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, or their constituents. Mostly drugs are weak acids or weak bases, and because they are weak acids and weak bases, so it means that the pH differences among various compartments of the body, they may alter the ionization of the drugs inside the body. Drug size. Drug size varies. Drugs have different molecular weights that vary from 100 to 1000. A drug can be as small as lithium, where the molecular weight is only 7, and it can be large protein, for example altiplase, where the molecular weight is 59,050. A good fit to only one type of receptor. It means that a specific drug molecule must be sufficiently unique in its shape and in its charge, and this is to prevent its binding to other receptors. Selective binding can be achieved by a drug if it has a molecular weight of 100. It is considered to be an ideal. The upper limit in molecular weight is determined primarily by the requirement of the drug, that is their ability to move within the body, that is from their site of administration to their site of action. For example, drugs having molecular weight greater than 100 do not diffuse readily between the compartments of the body, and if it is the case that a drug molecule is larger in size, that its molecular weight is greater, uh, for example, there are proteins which are drugs, and they are administered directly into the compartment where the effect is required. It means that if we are going to administer LT-place, which has a molecular weight of 59,050, it mean that is and it is a clot dissolving enzyme or a protein. This drug must be administered directly into the vascular compartment by intravenous infusion. Drug reactivity and drug receptor bonds. Drug interacts with its receptor by means of chemical forces or bonding. There are usually three types of forces: covalent bonding, electrostatic bonding, and hydrophobic bonding. We will talk about the covalent bonds first. Covalent bonds are very strong, and in most cases they are not reversible under biological conditions. Let us take an example of a drug phenoxybenzamine, which is a alpha blocker drug. It binds with its receptor through covalent bonding, and upon binding with its receptor it will remain as a drug receptor complex unless the drug is removed from the body from the bloodstream, number one, or generation or synthesis of new receptors takes place, and this process takes about 48 hours. So, if a drug binds with its receptor through a covalent bonds, it is very difficult to get them detached. Secondly, there are also other examples of this type of bonding, and DNA alkylating agents, which are basically anti-cancer drugs. They also bind through covalent bonding. Alkylating agents work by adding an alkyl group to the guanine base of the DNA molecule, and thus prevents the strands of the double helix from linking as they should. So this caused the breakage of DNA strands, affecting the ability of the cancer cells to multiply. So all of the classes of alkylating agents, that are nitrogen esters, nitrosoureas, alkyl sulfonates, triazines, ethylene amines, these are all these all interact with their receptors by covalent bonding. Second type of bonding is electrostatic bonding, and it is much more common than covalent bonding in drug receptor interactions. Electrostatic bonds vary. This variation vary from very strong linkages between the permanently charged ionic molecules to weaker hydrogen bonds and very weak induced dipole interactions such as van der Waals forces and similar phenomena. Electrostatic bonds are weaker than covalent bonds. Third is the hydrophobic bonds, and they are usually quite weak, and they probably important in the interactions of highly lipid soluble drugs with the lipids of the cell membranes, and in the interaction of drugs with the internal walls of the receptors, which are called pockets. There is a theory that a specific nature of a particular drug receptor bond is of less practical importance. So, if this drug receptor bonding is of less practical importance, it means that there is something else, and there is a fact that drugs which bind with weak which bind through weak bonds to their receptors are generally more selective drugs as compared to the drugs which bind through very strong bonds. It is because weak bond always requires a very precise fit of the drug to its receptor. So if interaction is to occur, a drug has to be precisely fit with its receptor, and only few receptors are likely to provide such type of precise fit for a particular drug structure. So precise fit is very important, and if we want to design, or if we wish to design a drug which is highly selective, and it must be short acting, so we the highly selective short acting drug for a particular receptor, we would always avoid a highly reactive molecule. We will always go with a molecule that must have a precise fit with that particular receptor, as compared to a reactive molecule that covalently binds with its receptor. Drug shape. The shape of a particular drug must be such that to permit its binding with a particular receptor site. It means that a drug shape is always complementary to the receptor site. Similarly, just like a key that is complementary to a lock. So, the phenomena of stereoisomerism, or in simple words, chirality is so common in biology that more than half of the useful drugs are chiral molecules. That is, they always exist in enantiomeric pairs. A drug with one asymmetric center has two diastereomers, and a drug with two asymmetric centers have four diastereomers. For example, ephedrine, which is a sympathomimetic drug. Uh, in most of the cases, in almost all of the cases or most of the cases, it is seen that one of those enantiomers is much more potent as compared to its mirror image enantiomer. It means that it offers, yeah, it reflects a better fit to the receptor molecule. A simple example is of methacholine, that its L enantiomer is over 250 times more potent than its D enantiomer, that is its dextrorotatory enantiomer. So levorotatory enantiomer of methacholine is 250 times more potent. So it is simply that if we consider, if we think, yeah, if we imagine receptor site to be a glove, so into which drug molecule must fit to bring about its effects, it is always clear that why a left oriented drug will be more effective in binding a left hand receptor than it will bind to a right oriented enantiomer. Another important concept that must be kept in mind is that a more active enantiomer at one type of receptor may not be as active at another receptor type. Simply we can say that a receptor type may be responsible for some unwanted effects. For example, we will take example of carvedilol. It is basically a adrenergic drug, and it has a single chiral center. It means that there are two enantiomers, negative isomer and a positive isomer. Negative isomer is a potent beta receptor blocker, whereas a positive isomer is 100-fold weaker at the beta receptors. However, both of these isomers are approximately equipotent in case of alpha receptors. Basically, carvedilol act on alpha, both beta receptors, that is non-selective beta receptor blocker, and it also blocks alpha receptors. So let us discuss it in the next slide. Okay, see here that what is KD? KD is basically a dissociation constant, and it must be kept in mind that dissociation constant is inverse of affinity. It means that if dissociation constant value is greater, there is lesser affinity. Okay, let's start with the example. The R form, that is the positive enantiomer, and the negative enantiomer uh, of carvedilol, they have almost equal values of Kd, that is 14 for positive and 16 for negative enantiomer when it comes for alpha receptors. It is the value of Kd. So lesser the Kd, higher the affinity. So these are actually showing that Kd values are almost equal. It means that they have equal affinity for the alpha receptor, almost equal affinity for the alpha receptors. If we talk about beta receptors, the R enantiomer's Kd value is 45, whereas S enantiomer value is 0.4. The lesser the Kd, the higher the affinity. It means that S negative enantiomer has a more affinity as compared to a positive enantiomer that has a Kd value of 45. But if we talk about the racemic mixture, that where positive and negative both enantiomers are present, here the affinity, the Kd value for the alpha receptor is 11. That is almost equal to 14 and 16. It means that it is retaining the affinity for the alpha receptors. And if we talk about the beta receptor, here the value comes to zero point 0.9. It means that the racemic mixture has a Kd value of zero point 0.9, and lesser the Kd, higher the affinity, means that it has a high affinity for the beta receptors. So as a racemic mixture, they have high affinity for the beta receptors, and they have an equal affinity for alpha receptors if as compared to both positive and negative one.